What's up, you guys? G to 4K here. Let me ask you a question. Have you noticed that throughout the world that the continents are usually separated by countries, and America seemingly the only place that is a country separated by 50 states? Did anyone think that was weird? I have a theory. The reason why America is set up with 50 states versus 50 countries, that Europe is still in control of America, and I have some proof. But before I share that with you, please like, share for more. Now, let me ask you another question. Do you know the difference between a state and a country? A state is a political unit within a country. A country is an independent nation with its own government and borders. Think about that. A country has its own borders and is an independent nation from said countries that border it. The reason why I love making these videos is because I love to expose the lies in our history. You see, there's a reason why it's the United States of America. You see, Europeans are still running America ever since they invaded America in the past. This is where the deceit comes, because Europeans faked an American revolution. You see, on paper, the Europeans changed who were the bad guys in history. And so they originally were the invaders and made the Native Americans seem like savages. European Americans faked an American revolution, posing as Americans in history, when really they were the oppressors. You see, on paper, they changed who the real Americans are. The British sent British over to America. The British that were over here acted as if they seceded from the mother country and created their own country. Whole time, that was just a ruse to lie in our history. Our generation now will believe that these white people were American when they never were. Caucasian genetics are foreign to marry to America, making all Caucasians immigrants by the definition. By issuing the Declaration of Independence in 1776, the 13 American colonies severed their political connections to Great Britain. This is what I'm talking about. There's nothing American about these colonies. That's the deceit. They put American on it, but these are Europeans that are severing ties with other Europeans. I say all that to say this: if America had countries inside of its nation, every state will have its own rules and regulations and government powers different from the other states, making those states to govern themselves, meaning that those states would also have an individual president for each state, meaning the unilateral control in America would be balanced, because you will have more leadership in individual states. The European leadership with the 50 states allows for them to sovereign over all of the 50 states and control the 50 states with loopholes. One of the loopholes of the 50 states of America is Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is not a state. I repeat, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It is a district. And what that means is that they operate on a different functionality than the rest of the states. This is where the Europeans got us by the throats, is because the Europeans flew this flag for the first time in America. This was America's flag. This was the first flag. Do you guys know what this is? This is the Grand Union flag. This is the flag that they rose to symbolize the first 13 colonies, the first 13 colonies that came over here from Europe. It was the first for them, even though there were still Native Americans, black people here. When they got to it, they changed the history and put first, even though it was already occupied. But moving forward, this flag is the deceit, because look at this flag. You'll notice that the British flag is on top of the 13 colonies flag. This lets you know that Europe came to America and conquered America and is now European, but they put American on it to change, to make themselves the natives, to make them on paper the originals. This is how they were able to steal our wealth, convert the Jews from black to white. This is how they were able to infiltrate America and change our history, because this flag is still the flag for today. It may not have the British symbol originally, but it still has the same stripes with the stars. This lets you know just from the symbol of our flag that Europe is in control over those 50 states, because the 13 colonies where the red flag came from Europe. And we still fly this flag proudly the whole time. It's a European flag. This is why they made Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, right? They're giving praise to the Europeans that sent Christopher Columbus over here, right, to discover the new world. Columbia is just the feminine name for Columbus. And of course, they named Washington after George Washington, who is also a Caucasian, European American, who's also, by the definition, an immigrant. So immigrants took over America, and they still control America to this day. So the District of Columbia, in a sense, is its own country. It creates the laws for the 50 states, but those laws that they create for the 50 states do not apply to the district, because the district is not a state. They call the District of Columbia the seat of the government of the United States. So if this is the seat of the government, and by the name District of Columbia, right, which means the District of Europe, if you want to be technical, because Columbus came from Europe. So the District of Europe sits in the seat of the government of the United States. It's all in the naming, right? They put it all in front of our faces. We still have the European flag. So you're pledging allegiance to the United States, which was formed by Europe with the same flag. So when you're swearing on your flag of the United States, you're also swearing to the District of Columbia and Europe, because that's the flag that they gave you to swear on. You guys are swearing on a flag for a whole nother nation, for a whole nother people that don't even represent you, especially Black Americans and Spanish speaking people in America. That American flag does not represent you at all. But you know who that flag represents? European America. And so when people say, hey, let's make America great again, let's start by removing the European American flag first. I believe the reason why America has 50 states is because it allows Europe to control the entire North American continent. If the states were countries and they were separate from each other, Europe would not be able to control the entirety of North America. Those countries rule themselves, so they wouldn't need outside ruling in order to rule them. This is what's going on in America right now, where outsiders are ruling and dictating how Americans should live. This is why so much deceit and confusion in our world, is because real Americans do not run America.